Hello, everyone, and welcome. This is our video on the full moon in Cancer. I'm Emmeline Muldoon with Emmeline's Astrology, and I'm here today, as always, with Jim Delacolli. Talk to all you lovely people about the full moon in Cancer that's happening January 6th. And it's quite a I think it's quite a slow. It doesn't feel like it's a fast moving moon, this one. So we'll get the chart up as always so we can go over it. I feel like it's kind of because it's Cancer, it's like a comforty moon. It's sort of stay at home in your pajamas and put some fluffy slippers on almost. It certainly has a sort of nice family feel to it in a way. But we'll go through and go together over the elements. We get together each month, twice a month, Jim and I, to talk about the new moon and the full moon. It's a good time to sort of stop in the month and reflect on the astrology that's going on around us at the time. So we use this video as a chance to talk about the full moon or the new moon, and also just sort of the astrology that's going on at the time, so give you a feel of the energy that we're working with right now. And right now it's a new year, so happy new year, everyone.
Yes, happy new year.
Hope you all had a lovely Christmas and a new year. It's our first video of the year together. So welcome in 2023. Hope you all got some nice presents. I'm going to show you everyone. I got a moon lamp for Christmas from my mum. It's so sweet.
And it's a full moon.
And it's a full moon, yeah. So she didn't know it changed color when she ordered it. She ordered it online, but it does. And it's just really cool. So just share that. That's I'm sitting here on my desk. I'll take it away from red. Don't want it to be angry. Speaking of red moon, I'm going to get the chart up, but I think it's quite nice that the moon is in Gemini today when we're filming this on January the 4th. So I will be uploading it tonight. But obviously, because Mars, the red planet, is retrograde right now in Gemini, each time that the moon has been meeting up with that Mars, and we've had like 3 months of that now, I feel like it's been a particularly emotionally volatile day. So January 3rd, January 4th, going into January 5th. If you've been noticing, that felt like kind of a tough emotional day. Just be assured by the fact that Mars will be starting to move direct on January the 12th. And I think we won't have the intensity of that Mars moon meet up in Gemini each month that we've been having. So this week I feel like has had a bit of a emotional flare up, and that red moon just made me think when it moved to red. So I just wanted to pass that message on, because even though we're talking about the full moon that's happening on January 6th, the moon just before it in Gemini is I think it's kind of a bit volatile.
Yes.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, so it's the last one, because the next time we get to a Gemini moon, Mars it still will be in Gemini, but it won't be actually retrograde. So I don't think it will feel quite as intense as it has done this one and the 2 previous ones.
Yes.
Yeah, so I just thought I'd start with that little Mars information, because Mars is so prominent in the charts at the moment. We're just dealing with this, and Jim and I just recorded a 2023 astrology video for the year ahead, which you can still purchase. You can go onto my website. I'll put the link below, emmelinesastrology.com, and get the recording. I'll send it out to you on an email. But we went through a lot. We went through the whole year, 2023. So that was a long video, and it was really fun to do. But we started off by saying one of the things about this new year and the starts of a new year is that it's not necessarily going to feel like a new year. It may be like January 1st, the first week of January in terms of the dates on the calendar, but as far as astrology is concerned, we're still Mars retrograde, we've got Mercury retrograde, so it's definitely a slow start where we're not maybe getting on with our New Year's resolutions or even setting our New Year's resolutions yet.
Yes.
Yeah, so don't feel discouraged if you haven't. I have actually had a good friend of mine text me today saying, oh, I haven't even wrote down my New Year's resolutions yet. I really intend to, but I haven't started it. I don't know why. And I just thought, well, I know why. It's because we're not ready. We're still so I just wanted to get that message out before we start and talk about the rest of the astrology, because don't feel disheartened if you're still, I'm still planning, I'm still thinking, I'm still trying to figure out what my New Year's resolution is going to be. I'm still revising it, I'm reworking it. That's perfect energy with Mars retrograde and Mercury retrograde as we begin the year.
Yes.
So don't be hard on yourself, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. Like when we get to the new moon in Aquarius, which we'll do in our next video, which is January 21st, that's going to feel a little bit like we're moving, but not quite yet.
Yeah, and I'll toss in the moon rules Cancer. So it's in its own sign, so it's comfortable there, but it's a lot more about because we have the two retrograde planets, as you just discussed. It's about you going through your past and kind of look from that perspective of what am I, where am I, and there's a lot of time you have right now where it's not this thing hasn't sped up from all the planets going direct, so you can kind of go over your life and assess and think fondly back and who are you and what are you, and hopefully you take this moon to do a little bit of that, and then what you've surrounded yourself with is going to help you do that if you don't do that on your own. So know that, and I say be like that, the very that nurturing influence the moon is, which is observe and kind of let the outside surroundings kind of just let it keep ticking and evolving, and you observe right now. I think that'd be a very beneficial thing that you could do as far as an action point at a full moon.
Yeah, definitely observing. And obviously this full moon chart also has the moon, the Cancer moon, sextile Uranus. It's quite strong. It's within 1 degree. So look, feeling and thinking and using your intuition as your guide as to what you need to do. Like the moon Uranus can really pick up some strong intuition. So obviously we're reflecting. That's what we do on a retrograde. It's the RE words. We're revising, rethinking, we're reflecting. Use your intuition as well to think about, what do I want to do? What changes do I want to make? Because, what did you say? I'm going to let you use that lovely point you made about March. It was a really good point about enjoy the quiet now.
Yes. Yeah, because this thing is going to be full speed ahead in March. So I'm hoping that you do all those things we just discussed and really assess why you have what around you have. And then what I'm seeing is a lot of people leaving in my life were they really good for me anyway? So it's up to me to digest who they were and what they were in my life. Not if they were right or wrong, or I'm right or wrong, but maybe it's time for that to go as a full moon, things culminate. And don't be afraid to let things go if it might be in your best interest. So sometimes we hold on to that, which is a tremendous detriment. And so this might be a time that you want to look and do that. So
yeah, there's definitely a sense of releasing family. I feel like releasing family stuff as well with it being in Cancer. Yeah, with it being in Cancer, releasing what needs you. It's almost like it's pulling into that Uranus. So you might suddenly as well feel like out of the blue, you know what, that's just not working for me. That's not good for me. It has to, this family situation, I don't feel like it's good. So I want to release it. A full moon is a really good time to release. So you might be inclined to think about any family stuff that you want to move on from, I suppose, is
Very good point.
a good way
Very,
to phrase it.
yep.
Yeah. Um, yeah, the moon is in a very sensitive point in Cancer. And so you might be feeling during this full moon sensitive about it as well. It might be emotional. You might feel, a full moon can be a very emotional time because it can bring up feelings that you want to release. With it being in Cancer, it might feel even more of an emotional time.
Yeah.
And yeah, you might really, you can sometimes get a bit overwhelmed with your emotions, I think, with Cancer and a moon. But
Yes.
the other thing is that sometimes Cancer moon people can describe them, or they can say that they can come across as moody, which isn't very fair really, because what they really are is very in touch with their emotions. They're
Yeah.
very able to tune into it. And because the moon changes sign every 2 days, if you natally have a Cancer moon, you're feeling that energy, and you're relating to it emotionally. So your mood can change every 2 days.
Yeah.
So think about that as well with this full moon chart, about how the Cancer moon relates to you.
Good.
And I was going to say, if you're a Cancer rising, I think this is a time where you're really thinking about releasing what no longer serves you anymore as well. It might be good to think about where this full moon is falling in your chart, because if you are a Cancer rising, then this full moon could be right on your ascendant, or right in your first house. And what do I want to? What no longer serves me? What's no longer good for me? And it's good preparation for the new moon that's coming to think about the new beginnings that we want to start. So it's almost like we need to clear out the closet of clothes before we can buy the new.
Yes. And also if you're a Cancer rising, all these planets are up above the chart. So a lot of the outside world is going to pick up for you this year.
Yeah.
So know that. But it's about what you're trying to become too. So you don't know who you are yet, but don't be afraid to release here, because if you need it, it'll come back.
Mm. And there might be some releasing in relationships as well, because you think of it, if you are a Cancer rising,
Yeah.
which is a Cancer risings are getting their
Yeah.
their own horoscope today. But
Yes.
yeah, it would be like obviously putting into the relationship side as well. So something
Yeah.
else to consider.
And we are not Cancer rising, so
No,
don't think we're helping ourselves here personally.
no, we
You're getting more help than I am, though.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, Libra's here. That's why I got my Libra mug.
Yes.
Okay, so what should we move on to? Which aspect?
Look, if we leave it there, and you see where all these planets are on half the chart, that's how the whole pretty much first half of the year is going to be. The only exception will be the moon when it's full, except for this
Yeah.
one, will start being exposed and by itself. So we talked about that a little bit on 2023. So find
Yeah.
where Cancer and Capricorn are, find out where they are, because they
Yeah.
oppose each other. Find out where all these planets are lined up, and then get involved from the perspective of your chart, right? So this chart, it
Yeah.
would be outside world.
Mm-hmm.
As we turn this thing, if your Cancer is at the very bottom at the fourth house cusp, and then the top Capricorn at the top, you would be everything would be on the left side of that chart, and you'd be wanting to move and get things done. From your perspective, you need to take charge and be in charge. If you're closer to like my chart, I'm an Aquarius, but if you say Capricorn is where Cancer is, and then Cancer is where Capricorn is, all these planets would shift to the bottom, and you got a lot of internal work that you're doing. And then if we flip it to where Capricorn's at the bottom and Cancer's at the top, you'd have this part of life would be a lot of destiny playing the role here. So look at that and think about that, because this is going to be a big year for a lot to be done, and I want you focusing in your chart and your life. So the aspects there's not a lot of them, but some of these aspects should be powerful with this full moon, and so we want you to let's go. I mean, there's going to be 2 Cancer full moons in 2023. The other one will be early, like at 4 or 5 degrees, I think, but it'll be on Christmas, the day after Christmas. So
Oh, okay. So this is a good tie-in, isn't it, to now to the end of the year at
Yes.
Christmas.
Yep.
Yeah, and this yeah, so I've tried to draw on the chart. You can see it's all one-sided. It's going to be very interesting for the babies that are born at the moment as well.
Oh man, it is. Yes.
They're going to have such a concentration of energy on one side. You see,
Yes.
because all these other houses are empty. So there's a like look at your chart and see how that's affecting you. It's
Yes.
a good point to explore and look at and see. And the moon is what starts off this like this is like a locomotive chart, I would say. They're all together, and then the moon is like the first one. So
Yep.
moon is in that makes it moon even stronger in this chart because the one who's starting the locomotive, the train, when they're all coming together on one side, is the strong planet. So it's got an even bigger influence on
And then
this.
the sun's on the backside. So it's very interesting that this is lined up like this. So,
Yeah.
a lot of change.
Yes. Yeah. And I'm going to repeat what you said about just enjoy this time in this January of it might feel like we're frustrated because we're still working on stuff, revising stuff, trying to figure out where we're going, trying to put our plans in place. But I think we're gonna when we're in March, we're all gonna say, "Oh, I wish it was like back in January still.
Yep. Yes,
I
we
wish
are.
we were still so it was calm and it was quiet because this is a really fast year with all the planets. By the end of January, all the planets are going to be direct, which means things are going to move fast. So we're going to look back at this time as, miss it in a way. I think the
Yes.
calm and the quiet and the taking it easy. I just think it's just irritating that this period is at the beginning of the year because instinctively when it's January in the first couple of weeks we all just go right, let's start planning, let's start moving, but we can't yet, and we know that as astrology. If you hear your friends say that, oh, I haven't been able to do it, you can just say, yep, the astrology's we're not ready to move forward quite yet.
Yep. Yep.
So just try and enjoy this like time. I haven't even finished out my year's resolutions, and I know, but I'm not stressed about it because it's still being revised and reworked.
Good. That's perfect.
Yeah. So yeah, and Jupiter is in Aries. So that's pulling along this chart as well, saying let's act, let's move forward, let's be impulsive, let's be the leader. This year with Jupiter's going to be in Aries till May. So let's think about how do you want to be the leader of your life this year for the first part of it, especially because that's really what Jupiter's asking us to do right now and up
Yes.
until May. So it's good to bear in mind and think about that. But it's going to feel so. I feel like this first half of January is just us revising and so forth. Once we get to the 12th, when Mars does move direct, it will be slow. Don't think, oh, it's the 12th of January, Mars is direct, we're moving forward. It's going to, Mars is not going to be moving as fast as he normally does. So, and obviously Mercury will still be retrograde until January the 18th. So, it will still be slow. It won't be till the later part of maybe the end of January where we start to see some changes. So just bear in mind that is kind of the energy that we're in at the moment with this first half of January and this moon.
Yep. So aspects, I got conjunction Sun and Mercury, but Mercury's retrograde. So we're talking about the redo, right? It's in Capricorn. So
yeah,
yeah, redo, but it's also mentally one of the Capricornian ruled areas of life. And to me, I've been talking about liars for a while. Find the truth here, right? You're getting a chance. Things have slowed down from Mercury perspective of you gathering the information. So seek the truth here. Let these two planets work together and keep figuring out the truth, or figure out the lies, whichever side you need to be on, because you'll get to a better understanding of what's really going on. So I like that aspect when this is a little slowed down, to where maybe you're going to get your perspective and not others, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's a good way of thinking about that Mercury retrograde. I just want to say very quickly, I have a separate video on my YouTube channel that you can find about Mercury retrograde, because I feel It seems to me that Mercury retrograde has become such a phenomenon. It's so popular. It seems to be like well known in astrology now, Mercury retrograde, and people really fear it. And I think a little bit of knowledge can be dangerous because I have people that I know that would text me and say, "Oh my gosh, it's a Mercury retrograde. This is terrible. I can't sign this contract. I can't book flights. I can't move on with my life." And that is not true. It's not true. It's not doom and gloom. Mercury can be really good at making us revise and rework a situation. And sometimes, yes, when you sign a contract or you start something on a Mercury retrograde, it will change. But sometimes it changes for the better. So, you don't have to fear it. Mercury is not a scary planet. It's not a time where you have to shut down and stop living your life at all. So I just want to put that message out there because we are in the throes of a Mercury retrograde again. And like I said, it does seem to be very well known and people do seem to be upset about Mercury retrograde periods now, as I find it a really good time to research and get to the details and go through that. And this moon especially with the sun there with Mercury, it's a good time to shine a light on that part of Mercury.
And then Pluto and Venus are together. Venus is going to be in Aquarius, and that's where Pluto's headed. So that's why I've been talking about liars, because the truth's coming. So if you can uncover what's going on, and then you'll gather the truth quicker as these are moving forward. Venus likes ease. Pluto likes to take you to extremes. So it's a nice combination of planets that I love, because I think you could make something that can be extremely chaotic or extremely painful, and Venus can help make it maybe easier. And so I like these two, figuring out the physical world and then finding the truth about where you want to take that. So I like that Venus Pluto conjunction at this time.
I always like Venus Pluto coming together. I don't. I know some people say, "Oh, it's that's not good." I think it's like a power couple, It's the strength, it's the power. But I would say with this full moon and looking at it in the chart, maybe because it is kind of hanging out and it's not an opposition because it's 10 degrees away from the moon, but releasing, what are we releasing in terms of family and so forth? It does put in the picture in my mind of are you being controlled by someone? Sometimes emotional manipulation. Sometimes with Venus, Pluto, there can be that kind of like emotional control where someone that you love and you think that they love you, so they're doing the best for you, but sometimes they're maybe not because they're trying to manipulate you. Because Pluto is, it does have a bit of that power play about it. So that's one thing that came to my mind with looking at it, this chart. But as well, the other thing that's Venus in Aquarius, it is about analyzing with the mind. It's like a love of knowledge, thinking about things and enjoying the process of thinking about things. So I think with this moon, we really are we should be spending a lot of time contemplating and reflecting and thinking and processing what's important.
And don't forget somebody's controlling you, or you trying to control things you don't need to control. Don't forget to flip that on yourself too.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Are you trying to? And I think this is one thing I've noticed with North Node in Cancer, talking about a Cancer moon, but I think sometimes when you've got your North Node in Cancer, your your South Node is in Capricorn. And that's one thing that can come up a lot of the time, is trying to control others and the situation around you a lot. And that's a kind of a Capricorn thing. I think you feel happy and settled when you're trying to control. So that could be a question that you ask yourself with that Venus Pluto is, are you trying to control too much? And do you need to stop doing that?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, so which one do you next? The Venus, Mars?
Yeah, we can do the trines. Let's go to the trines.
Talking about
Mars,
Yeah, just talk about Venus. Venus in this moon is trining our lovely Mars. Mars isn't necessarily happy right now. Obviously, we keep going on about that. Hope you hope you're getting the message there about the Mars. Um, but what Venus and Mars do when they come together is it's it's like a creation. It's like the masculine and feminine coming together,
Yeah.
making the creative baby, you know. So I think there is that element of putting into what we're trying to create as well. We can sense it. We're thinking about what we want to do.
Mm-hmm. And it's in the air sign. So look at from a communicative perspective, you could maybe merge your female and masculine side and just get better at communicating both parts of those planets, both sides of them.
Yeah. I think it's a good time to listen as well, because with Mars in Gemini, sometimes we just talk and talk and talk.
Yeah.
And then we're not listening. So maybe with this full moon, remember, good to listen to what your loved one is trying to tell you that's upsetting them, because that goes a really long way, especially with a chart like this.
Yes, that's an excellent point. And then we can further the communication because Sun, Uranus, and Mercury are all trine, right? So it's a great time for that communication, but you can really like learn or teach or be observant and listen, and this will help you from those perspective on the earth plane. So about things, about how this world works. That's why I've been talking about the liars, but this is also the truth. So figure that out. And I think those planets, because Uranus and Mercury are the planets that are the communication and learning and understanding. And so yeah, huge opportunity for that in those signs.
Yeah, that's true. That's good. Okay. What should we go to?
Well, I have the big square with the sun, moon, Mercury, and Chiron. If I'll let you talk about that. You're a better Chiron person than me.
No. So Chiron squaring the sun. I do see on the East Coast that the Chiron's right up there on the midheaven, which is interesting because obviously in the East Coast chart we have that means that the Washington chart, the chart for the US, we've got Chiron up there. So it's like the collective chance to heal on this moon in some way.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it is squaring the sun, so that is maybe some friction in igniting. It's almost like before you can heal, you have to like rip off the band-aid and acknowledge the
See what
pain.
the wound is. Yeah, you have to
Yeah.
figure the wound out. Absolutely. Good.
So kind of makes me think that we have to acknowledge the pain before we can
Absolutely.
process it. So it might be a time to really think about, something that you want to heal, because it's a good chance to do that.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. I think we're pretty much covered most of the aspects, haven't we?
Yeah, it's all the ones I see that are major,
Yeah. I think, did we do the moon and Neptune? They look like they're trining as well. 1622.
Yes, they are. Moon and Neptune are. Yep.
I don't think we did that, did we? Well, this even more so, I think, pulls into our intuition. We've got the moon and Uranus, and then we've got the moon and Neptune. So I really feel like we can use our senses
Yes.
to guide us with what we want to release and what we want to work on during this time. Sometimes I think the moon and Neptune is a bit idealistic as well.
You got to watch, rose-colored glasses.
Yeah. I always think of like when I'm looking at charts with Neptune, moon, it's the people that love Disney or romance and that kind of thing, which is great. And we need that energy. But sometimes it can be misjudged a bit, you know. You
Yeah.
might not see it clearly because you're so happy just to see it in the fantasy way.
Yeah. Both of those planets are in their signs they rule. So
Mm.
the rose colored glasses, and then just take it just a hair in a different direction is both of those rule past, right? Karmic.
Yeah.
Who are you really? What do you really want? And try to get the truth out of this, because we got a lot of things that we can find through the communication perspective in this chart.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping you take that time to reflect, but then also like get out there what you want, because I think that's the main theme here of 2023. There's a lot of things that are going to go
Mm.
away because they need to.
Yeah.
But what you want then, I hope you have some clarity of who you are, what you want, and what you deserve, value. Because I think a lot of times we don't do that from our own perspective. We've been browbeaten about you don't matter, worry about the collective, but if you don't worry about yourself, you can't truly worry about the collective. So careful here, and I'm hoping that you'd be a little selfish from that karmic non-physical perspective, and know your gifts, value them, and then figure out what you want from that. So
Yeah. Yeah, that's really good. Yeah, I think I just want to just to finish up with just let everyone know that date again, Mars going direct, because I think 13th, the 12th, the 13th, and the 14th, is going to maybe feel a bit hostile, edgy days. So just
yes,
bear that in mind with Mars going, yeah, here I go again. Watch out for driving, watch out for arguments, watch out for
yes,
crazy drivers on those days. So just take care and take caution. Um, that's after obviously this full moon, but in the first part of the month.
yeah, and get ready, rest up, get some sleep.
Yeah, yes, try and sleep.
You're going to absolutely need it. So
Yeah, so thank you everyone. If you have any questions, you can leave a comment on our channels. We post this to both of our channels, so happy to answer any questions you have. Getting so many good questions from clients, and I had a class today getting some really thought-provoking questions and stuff that we can go over. So yeah, if you have any or anything you want to add to this full moon video, then just let us know, and we will see you again for the new moon on the 21st.
yes,
New moon in Aquarius, which is a whole different energy, I think, to this.
totally different. Yep.
This
So
is like a hibernation moon.
yes. So get ready.
Yeah.
All right.
So happy New Year, everyone. And thank you for tuning in. And we'll hope to see you next time.
Yes. Take care, everyone.
Take care. Bye.